Prosecutors say this jihadi suspect was holding children hostage at a New Mexico compound and training them to carry out what they say were school shootings. This, as we learned, the NYPD had reportedly surveilled a mosque connected to this New Mexico compound, but the ACLU intervened. So, how does a terrorist training camp make its way to on American soil and essentially move off the grid? How did it go undetected for so long? Here to weigh in, former FBI special agent with the Joint Terrorism Task Force and U.S. Army Ranger Chad Jenkins. Chad is also the co-founder of the Jenkins Group. Chad, when this popped up, I said, where the heck did this come from? But you said this looks familiar. What do you mean?
Well, we see too often this type of behavior from individuals who are devout followers of Islam. This compound out in New Mexico is very similar to what we see overseas. ISIS compounds in Syria and Iraq, the Damaj Institute in Yemen, Al-Shabaab in Africa. It replicates that, and now we're seeing it here in the United States, and it's devout followers following the religion and the way in which Muhammad started the religion back in the 7th century, and they're following it to a T, and that's where it's very difficult to decide how long do we allow for them to do this before they go actionable and actually try to commit a terrorist attack here on U.S. soil.
You know, the story is that the FBI was surveilling this, and the local officials said, I'm tired of waiting, I'm going in. And they were totally wide open. There was no cover, so they were risking their lives. They don't have the terror training that you have, but they went in, they did a great job, and they saved a lot of people. But in the big picture, you don't think this is the only one. We have other places in this country where you can move off the grid between states and between areas. If you ever look down when you're flying across country, you see places.
Yeah, we've seen this before. Oregon had a compound not too long ago, a couple years back, that was doing the same type of things. But you got to remember, Brian, it's a very fine line, and the imams and mosques all throughout the country know how to walk it up to that First Amendment right of freedom of speech, and then to go ahead and teach their ways to go out and then have others go off the grid and continue in that instruction, whether it's doing it here domestically or trying to then facilitate individuals going overseas to join the fights of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, you name the terrorist organization, training them here to go over to do it overseas.
Sunni Muslim extremists, usually Salafists, and guess what? The people in the Muslim community know about it, and they got to be the first ones to blow the whistle on it. Chad Jenkins, thanks so much.